you've had an overview of effects, let's explore a few fun creative effects to get you started. So I've already started a sequence for us, and I have 3 clips that we're going to experiment with. The first 2 are the same, so we can experiment with how different effects look different on the same clip. To set us up for success, let's move over in our source pane to Effect Controls. And then down in our project bin, let's move to our Effects library. This is going to allow us to search and apply the effects. Our first impact editing is ghosting. Let's begin by copying V1 to V2. I'm just going to use my Option key and drag that up. On your PC, that would be an Alt. We're going to search for the effect Posterize Time. Make sure you choose the Posterize Time, not Posterize. That's another cool one to play with, though. So I'm just going to drag and drop that onto the top clip. And so without really applying anything, we've already started creating some effects. In my effect controls, I'm going to drop down, and underneath Posterize Time, I'll see frame rate. I'm going to change that to 6. So if I play through it this time, you can see we've kind of staggered that frame rate. And that we're not quite creating that ghosting yet, but our next few changes will have that effect. So I'm going to change my blend mode to screen. And depending on the light or dark of your video, you might want to experiment with different blend modes. This is the effect I want, where it's kind of like a double exposure image. And I can change the opacity of that as well. Let's just play it through with that screen. And now let's change the opacity. And so that's going to bring some of that good video from the bottom up to the top. And so you can just experiment with how much effect you want. The next thing you can do is to experiment with a channel blur. So we're going to search for blur, and you can see we have all kinds of different blurs that you can apply. What we're going to do is apply this channel blur. And so see how our effect controls is just stacking these effects? So I can choose to apply an alpha blur, and we'll experiment with that first. And so that's creating a blur on all kinds of different channels. Now, with this scene, let's go ahead and switch this to a red blur. So then we're going to be creating blur on the red channel. And you can immediately see that change. Let me take that back for you. So that's the before, and that's the after. It might also be interesting to experiment with blue here. So let's change that. And you can see how that creates a blur. So that's another additional effect you can add to this. And depending on the color of your video, you might want to choose different types of channel blurs. For our next technique, we're going to create a mosaic effect. So again, I'm going to start by copying V1 to V2 just by option dragging. And I'm going to search for Mosaic. And so that's going to be underneath the Stylize menu. I'm just going to drop that right on top. You can already see we got something crazy. By the way, this is how you create blurs if you need to in your video. You can even mask those so it masks certain areas. We're doing this for a special effect though. So I'm going to, under Mosaic in my effect controls, I'm going to change my horizontal blocks and my vertical blocks. And you can see how that's created a different look. Now, you can do the horizontal small and the vertical big, whatever you like the best, but what you want is to make one considerably larger than the other. Well, now we can't really see the video. We're going to change that by applying screen. And again, depending on the light or dark of your video, you might want a different blend mode. And you can see now we've got that kind of mosaic flicker effect going. I think this one is really cool for like an intro sequence or beginning sequence to some type of fun clip. Finally, let's apply a light leak. So here's the video we're working with, just a very simple video. And we're going to apply light leaks or lens flares to this. Now you can find these videos or even images on sites like Pixabay or Unsplash. I found mine on Pexels. So I'm going to go back into our project bin, and I have two that we're going to play with just so you can see how different light leaks look different. So I'm just going to drag that clip on top. And so this one is kind of a bokeh effect. And with that selected, all I'm going to experiment with is my blend mode. So there's the effect if it is screened. There's soft light, hard light, and we'll play through. And it creates an interesting effect. And so depending on where you set that blend mode is how that's going to look. And you can also experiment with opacity with that too. So if I do that, just kind of like light passing over it. Let's look at the other video. So I'll delete this clip and I'll add the other one. And so this one is more of a blue-green type of effect. So let's experiment with that. So there's multiply and screen. There's an overlay. And let's try a hard light. And I kind of like that multiply the best. So if we play this through, kind of have an interesting effect there. So those are some effect tricks that are some of my favorites. I encourage you to experiment, just see what effects exist, and play with those in your effect controls to see what kind of cool looks you can get. The possibilities and your creativity are endless on this.